Welcome in, everybody, to the season finale full episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown, and as always, joining me to give the crew chief perspective of everything, my dad, Jeff Brown. Dad, welcome in. This is the season finale, if you will, of our full recap and previews of everything because, well, racing's over for us, really.
You know what? It seems like racing, when you look at it, it's such a long season, but holy crap, it's like gone in an instant. I mean, it's like here we are, week before Thanksgiving. Racing's over. Luckily, football's going on. But, yeah, I mean, it's, starts in February, ends in beginning of November. It goes by in a second. It's hard to believe it's done already, but, before you know it, we'll be getting ready to talk about the Coliseum Clash and Daytona Speed Week's coming up in just a couple months.
And maybe possibly doing a little insight on the Chili Bowl, too, because that kind of kicks off everything as well. And that's always an exciting event, too. And long week for those guys in January. But it's definitely worth it in the end if you can make it happen. I don't know if there are any big names racing in it this year. I don't think Larson would be racing in it. He's kind of got a lot on his plate with the high limit series as it is.
Yeah, I doubt Larson's going to be in it, but I mean, you're probably going to get Sunshine. T-Mez, I'm sure, is going to run it. Probably Rico. The normal guys. Buddy Kofoid probably going to run it. Ricky Stenhouse normally runs it.
Yeah.
I know Bowman usually runs it, but I don't think, being he got hurt in that sprint car crash, I doubt he's going to run it this time.
Yeah, he might just have a whole year just focusing on the Cup Series itself, just so he can kind of get ready to have a better season. He had definitely a down year in NASCAR, so if obviously he made it work in NASCAR, he probably would have, but he probably wants to get focused on that. But, I mean, who knows what he wants to do. But let's dive in real quick and give the quick recap of the NHRA. They crowned 4 new champions, one that we obviously expected. Actually, 2 of them we really expected. And one brand new champion of them all. Been doing it for a long time. Doug Coletta finally gets his championship.
Yeah, good for Doug. I mean, talk about like the nice guy of the sport that's been doing it for a long time. He came close one time, and the only way he was going to get beat is Tony Schumacher had to win a race and set a new national ET record. And son of a bitch, if he did not do that and beat Doug Coletta by like 1 point. So crazy, but, hats off to Coletta for finally winning that. I don't know how long he's been racing drag cars, probably close to 30 years, I'm guessing, finally got one. And he's an old sprint car guy, so, hey, you got to root for the sprint car guys. And see, Matt Hagan won Funny Car.
Yeah.
Erica Henderson Pro Stock, and big surprise, Gage Herrera did the Pro Stock motorcycle.
Yeah, and we expected that, and we, like I said, we kind of expected Erica. The Funny Car and the Top Fuel was the talk of the week, and Matt Hagan got enough points to get it taken care of. There were obviously some new winners in the Funny Car series too, so. Definitely not what everybody expected people to go out with a bang, but Matt Hagan comes out victorious in the Funny Cars for the championship. So yeah, definitely another good year in NHRA. A lot of people, the thing is, will complain about like the TV schedule and everything, and I'm all in about that. And we were just talking about it before I clicked that record button. The NHRA does not do a good job of promoting its stuff on social media until, I don't know, 2-3 days later. You don't see anything, and they don't have a YouTube channel like every other racing series. I mean, even NASCAR, you could find highlights of the race and stuff. It would be nothing for them to just post the highlights on a YouTube channel and call it and be
show final round or something.
It's something.
And NHRA, your website sucks.
It's very amateur. It looks like very 1999-ish.
Well, there's ads on it, and it's like, come on, why are you putting ads on your damn website? You're a professional.
and that's the difference between NHRA and like NASCAR and stuff. NASCAR is focused on the whole streaming, the getting their audience on the TV and stuff, as opposed to NHRA that stays focused with bringing in people to their facilities and packing the place each and every week. So. I mean, it is what you. I mean, hopefully, I wish people could balance it out because I'd love to see pack stands and be able to watch it.
But NHRA, they have a deal with Fox, so a lot of them are on actual broadcast TV, and it's access to a lot of people, and you don't really know when the races are on. If you don't have some kind of a guide showing you like throughout the day what's going on, it's easy to miss. I mean, I've already just flipping through, be like, oh shit, drag racing's on. I completely forgot about it.
It's not that much advertised unless, I mean, you have to kind of get lucky with it. If one of their posts, even I mean, they don't have really anything on X. They don't have anything. Instagram is okay, but they show it after the fact. You really have to follow NHRA drivers themselves to get any news going on, so you don't really know.
Yeah, you almost have to be watching, drag racing to see commercials for drag racing. It's really, really stupid.
Yeah,
they can definitely run your commercials during NASCAR.
Yeah, and I think they could have some really cool commercials for drag racing too. I mean, they've got all the stuff for it. I mean, I think it'd be
they got a lot of huge personalities. I mean, it's
they
had that one with John Force and the Zombies one time, but it wasn't actual for. I think it was for Peak. It wasn't actually for drag racing. So I mean, you got the big personalities, and you could make some entertaining commercials for sure.
And this might be where it might not all be on NHRA for at least the broadcasting part. It could be part of Fox's stuff. Everything's turning to a streaming platform as it is now. Go to, I don't know, YouTube TV or something, or finding a deal with a streaming service to go hand in hand and be able to do a replay of it, like ESPN Plus with Hulu. You go back and you can watch it whenever you want. That's really the only issue I have with drag racing, because the racing's been phenomenal this year. And hats off to Gianna Evaristo getting top 5 in the standings this year. Obviously, she was a guest a few weeks back. Got to give a special shout out to her. And she was actually getting close to beating Matt Smith in the standings.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Good for her. She definitely had a standout year. So hopefully more good things to come for her, and maybe let's get top 3 for next year for her. I'm sure that's probably the goal. Probably
at least get a Wally.
She didn't win any this year. I know she was in a couple final rounds. Right now just not too many people could beat Gage Herrera. So
well, now you have an entire off season to look at things and see what the data presents, and they start up in March again.
Yeah, it's March down here in Gainesville is the first race now, so they don't run the opening in Pomona anymore.
Yeah, a bunch of Florida races will open up the year, as is tradition.
I might have to make the trip up to Gainesville. I've never been there. It's only about 2 hours from here. I wouldn't mind going and seeing that. Yeah,
that would definitely be cool. We kind of get spoiled with the ZMAX treatment we got here, and probably do that again next year, but. NHRA wraps up their season. Obviously, we got nothing to preview. We could talk a little bit about Susky, which you want to talk about not having updates about anything. Susky, BAPS Speedway now, previously known as Susquehanna Speedway.
It was a $25,000 to win race.
They will tell you the race is coming up, and then they will tell you that who won. I'm like, what? Can I get who's in the heat? World of Outlaws does a phenomenal job on their Twitter, and they update it constantly by lap, basically, and it's fantastic. It's not that hard to do. You just get one person just to set fire. You can get a 12-year-old to do that.
The one thing that hurts that race is they're not with either Flow or Dirt Vision, and I think they were charging $35 just for that one race to watch. Ain't nobody going to tune into that shit. Normally that racetrack is, used to be one of my absolute favorite tracks. It was real close to home, and I don't know. It just seems like it's turned into kind of a shit show here, just the way it's been run.
Well, they say the pit area is very chaotic. When I was talking to Donnie and them, Donnie got run over by a dang 4-wheeler at the track. So luckily he didn't get hurt, but it's apparently just chaos at Susky. So they put on good races. Yeah. It's just the facilities are just piss poor. which is unfortunate. Yeah, like we've had a bunch of events at Susky, and we kind of will put that with one of our favorites because we had success there.
Yeah, we won a few races there,
and they had some good subs when you won. I don't know if they do that still, but it's still great. You may or may not just cut it up with a hacksaw because you got to do what you got to do.
Sometimes you got to do what when you're at the car wash and you're hungry and you don't have nobody's got a knife, but you're a race car trailer full of tools. You might make something work.
Those tomatoes are still at probably that car wash that we tossed off the.
But hats off to Danny Dietrich. I think he just if I remember correctly, I think he was 7th place starter. Came up and passed Troy Wagaman with about 2 laps to go. Which Troy Wagaman has been a local racer that has had a great year this year. Definitely a young up and coming racer. I think you're going to see more good things from him in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, let's talk real quick about the news that broke. I want to say I broke it, but other people published it right before I posted the video because I recorded the interview with Justin Henderson a couple days before this actually got posted by none other than Justin Snyder from Port Royal Speedway. Of course, he wants to beat me to the punch, but he was on the show, so you know what? It's fine. Justin Henderson is going to be in the 69K car for the foreseeable races next year. I'm not going to say full-time because I end up jinxing people, it seems like. Yeah. But for at least what they are going to release for next year's schedule, he is going to be in that car. And he was driving from South Dakota last time to there. So, hey, he's dedicated to it. That's awesome.
Well, they are splitting between they're going to run Logan Wagner still at Port Royal races. And then the rest of the races are going to be Justin Henderson. It's not, my place to say one way or the other. I don't agree with it. I think it's very difficult to have two different drivers. Just time you kind of get set up with one, and
I assume Logan's just going to do the big Port Royal races.
I don't know how many they're planning on running. I know they have some of the sponsors that want to race more. My opinion, and it's my opinion only, has no effect on the race team or with that or anything. I think they're actually trying to race too much. Their best success was the first couple of years with Lance when they would run, 30, 40 races a year, and they'd win almost half of those.
Yeah.
It wasn't such a beat down on equipment and, engines and people. I know some of the sponsors that put the money into the car, they want to race more. If they're paying the bills, hey, you go and you race.
That's probably a lot of it too. And Justin brings a bunch of sponsors and stuff that he's had. He's kind of one of the traveling drivers, if you will, at this point. And actually looks like Lance is turning out to be one of those drivers as well. He's going a little bit everywhere. But I think they'll race some high limit races. He mentioned that he enjoyed the high limit series. He actually preferred the all-star format, so we'll see exactly what format they're officially going to use at high limit. They still have to work out the kinks and figure out the schedule. Obviously, they start off at East Bay, so that'll be definitely exciting. I don't expect them to come down to East Bay, but
I wish they would.
Yeah, well, they came down to Charlotte, so I was spoiled there.
Hey, anything's possible just to come down, But yeah, as far as the formats, I agree with the way they line the heat races up with the All-Stars. That way it's your heat race winner and the fast time trial, the fastest time trial that qualify.
I definitely agree.
And if you're the fastest and you win your heat race, you knock one out of the dash. So that's a little, or the Outlaws, it's first or second place. So you can have a good time trial. You start third in your heat race. You're like, oh man, start third. You're probably going to run third. It's just simple as that.
Yeah. Well, I can't really think of too much more to go over for dirt racing. I guess look ahead, way ahead right now, going into NASCAR season next year. The big headline, I guess, would be John Hunter Nemechek going to the Cup Series. Obviously, Ryan Blaney trying to defend his title. The first race is going to be the LA Coliseum. Again, not getting the high horse. But really it's the Daytona 500, and they start off with the biggest race. And then IndyCar is obviously starting off again next year, and the only difference in the IndyCar schedule next year, they start off St. Pete again, but they end the season in the streets of Nashville. So that will be definitely exciting because they always put on a great show with the streets of Nashville.
And the St. Pete race is kind of neat because it goes around the airport. They actually go down the runway and the whole deal. It's kind of a neat, especially with all the water in that area. It's kind of a cool racetrack.
Yeah. Well, looking at that NASCAR schedule, we talked about it a few months back, but what are you kind of looking forward to of next year's season?
I want to see what North Wilkesboro looks like and how it races with the repave. You know, I'm kind of hoping it's similar to like the way they did Darlington. If they did Darlington, I think they ground it up, new asphalt, and then put the stuff down so it still wore tires. That's the characteristic of that track. Because outside of Larson passing in that All-Star race, it was really a shit show. He figured it out, was able to pass.
Yeah.
And it made it look easy. So repave is definitely going to help. They're going to need to make that track to where you can run some way, make a 2-groove track, whether you got to nudge them out of the way to make the second groove and get under them, or add the PJ1 to get some extra traction.
And I doubt they put a PJ1 on a brand new paved
you
track.
probably don't need it with the repave. And I want to see how the Cup cars run in Iowa. That's that's what's top of my list. I think is Iowa. Indy coming back on the. I want to see what this generation car does at the Brickyard on the actual oval. So glad that's coming back. These cars put on great shows on these really big tracks. I don't know what it is, and I actually got their short track package got significantly better as the season went on too. So they're obviously figuring, and I think it had a lot to do with Goodyear figuring out a tire that will wear and drivers have to drive to go. Yeah. It's one of those things that just takes a little bit of time, I'm sure, to get everything going. But, these cars with the independent suspension, I think they'll turn some really good times at Indy. And I hate – the one thing I don't like about NASCAR is how they change the engine packages. I get it on the super speedways. You got to slow them down. But don't make everybody run a 500 horsepower package. Just let all tracks other than the super speedways – run them wide open,
Yeah.
Do whatever you got to do from then. That if you have power, you can pass.
I don't necessarily agree that you have to be limited to what horsepower your car's got to turn. I'm all for like the 410 sprint car. That's what it is. It's 410 cubic inch engine. So
if you're making more power, you're making more power.
Exactly. And as close as these cars are to each other now, you got to have something to really separate yourself, and I think that would definitely do it. Would people have an advantage? Yeah, but there's also cousin Earl in his garage that could probably build an engine better than Hendrick. So, you never know. I don't have a cousin Earl, but that's just a saying in case anybody was wondering.
Unfortunately, I think those days are over, but.
But realistically, though, really anybody, if they had the stuff, they could build an engine that could compete against all these guys. Now, the durability of the engines, that's a little bit different because Hendrick, for example, was notorious for having very durable engines. Roush Yates, same way.
Yeah, you definitely, out of all of them, you rarely see engine failures much anymore. Yeah. If that happens, that's usually somebody missing a shift and over revving them and breaking a valve spring.
It didn't have. I don't think it happened too often in the series. No. The other thing I'm looking forward to, just in general with racing, is the 1,100 miles that Larson's going to race in one day, the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. And unofficially, we're not going to officially announce it because I don't want to jinx anything, but we are going to probably go to the Indianapolis 500. So that's been a dream of mine, and I know that's been a bucket list for yours too. To see that track and all of its glory.
May or may not have a hotel booked already. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's just definitely something we've definitely wanted to do for a while. And now it's with Larson Racing, that just pushes it over the edge. You have to do it. It's like a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it might be the only time he ever does it.
Yeah, he'll probably do it the following year because he has a 2-year deal.
Oh, well, that's true.
It also depends how much. If he sucks, then McLaren might be like, nah.
But
No.
there's so much more even just that race and just the whole area around there. There's so much neat stuff going on, and I was out at India a couple times and got to explore some of the race shops, and it's there was a bar. You go walk outside and there was sprint car and midget tail tanks all around the bar. I was like, this is like freaking racing heaven here. I mean, this is really a cool place.
Well, there's only one more bucket list item that I have. It's the Daytona 500. Then, well, no, probably got a couple more. I'd like to see Knoxville.
I'd like to see the Chili Bowl.
And the Chili Bowl. Yeah, there's that's probably it. I don't have a whole, maybe the NASCAR Championship be cool. They say Phoenix is a beautiful city. I've never been there. I know you've been there before. You've been
rained.
Yeah, and that's what would be my luck is that I would go to a NASCAR race in a freaking desert and it would rain because that's just how it goes with me. That's just how it is. And we go to an NHRA race and it starts raining and it's been all week and we haven't had rain in a while. I don't know why, because I haven't gone to a race.
That's right.
Actually, I went to the dirt races, but that needed some rain. They needed some rain.
Yeah, they needed some rain for that one.
Well, they managed to do fine. I think that really pretty much wraps it up for our season with nothing to talk about. Oh, we have Formula One racing at Las Vegas, so they'll be going around that little new sphere thing they've got there. I wonder if
that thing's wild. That thing's cool as shit.
It's freaking cool. It's a little creepy too if you're flying over and it's a giant like smiley face looking at you. I'm like, so Formula One, it's going to be a really big crowd there. I don't get it, but because there's one guy that's going to win.
Yeah, and there's nobody going to pass anybody.
He did get beat once this year, I think, but it'll be a really cool spectacle thing. I think it's at nighttime, if I'm not mistaken.
That would even be cooler.
Yeah, and they go. I think they're supposed to go
Las
down.
Vegas during the day is like, nighttime's when you want to see it.
I went to Vegas when it snowed, so yeah. You want to talk about like going to a desert and a place supposed to be warm? I went to a cold, snowy Las Vegas. It doesn't happen. So yeah. It is what it is. And they also are working on Fontana to make it a short track now. So I saw some pictures of that. I don't know what the design's going to be. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got the stands
down to a
out.
half mile.
It'll be weird. I think they're supposed to be done by the end of next year. It's supposed to be on the 2025 schedule, so we'll see how fast they go. But that's tough.
I think I'd have made it a little bigger, maybe like a 3/4.
I mean, I was actually.
I mean, I like the short tracks. Don't get me wrong.
I was actually okay with California the way it was. I'm okay if they just
when that surface wore out, it got pretty good racing.
Yeah. Well, one thing we can look forward to and hope for is that Rockingham comes back, and hopefully they'll put Wilkesboro on the point schedule, maybe in 2025. But I think overall, I think NASCAR's doing a good job. I think NASCAR's done a good job overall with the schedule next year.
I think so.
Besides the Chicago Street Course, but they're going to give it at least another year.
Which you know what? It really wasn't that bad of a race.
I
was skeptical.
I'm just tired of all the road courses and stuff.
It was probably better that it did rain. It made it more interesting, but
Yeah. Who was it? Denny or Chastain or somebody just kept smacking that one wall. It was hilarious. I can't remember who it was. Oh, maybe it was Austin Dillon. I don't know. It was a couple of them. They kept slamming the same damn wall. But yeah, a lot to look forward to next year. And now, one thing I might be doing on this channel, if you guys are still tuning in for whatever reason why you're tuning in, don't know why you made it this far, but thanks. I'm going to try to do some on the spot, maybe behind the scenes garage interviews with some teams. So some people you've seen on the show before, might have them back on, maybe go to their shops, do some talks there, and just see what just see what they're doing this offseason to get ready for 2024, ranging from down in the ARCA/Truck Series, going all the way to NHRA, NASCAR Cup Series. So we'll see who we can get on here. And if you guys think of anybody you want to try to get on, reach out to me, put in the comments, and I'll send a message to them, because you know what the worst thing that can happen? They say no. Yeah. So, but it's I got tons of shops around me. It doesn't hurt to just ask and just kind of politic around and have fun, because they love to talk about that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, well, Dad, first season in the bag, and we'll kick it off again in probably around the Chili Bowl time.
Yep, January, because we got Chili Bowl, and they start racing down here in the sprint cars and modifieds and Volusia.
Yep, and they
and then East Bay.
The East Bay's in February, I think, for high limits. So
yep.
If you guys like this, make sure you share it, like, subscribe, hit that little bell to notify anytime we post any new episodes, whether this, the football podcast, the gaming portion of the channel. We got a little bit of everything for you. So make sure you check a little bit of everything out, and follow on all social media and anywhere you get your podcasts. So, Dad, we will see you in January then.
All righty. Looking forward to it.